Hi, and welcome to Wendy Rae's Idol Recap. Thanks for joining me. Well, we made it through group night. Oh, that is just painful to watch. They spent the first 21 minutes organizing the groups, watching the drama of the groups. Ugh, drove me crazy. It's my least favorite of the whole season, but we made it through it. After that 21 minutes, we finally got to see them sing, which was what I come to watch anyway. Now, the first couple of groups, they really didn't spotlight, but they kind of showed us. And one of the groups was a group of 3 women singing the Superwoman song. I loved them. I thought they were fabulous. Really, really good. And then we got to see Crystal Bowersock's group. Now, Crystal, we remember, is the one that got the tattoo that we talked about yesterday that I really like, and saw that she made it through, so that was really good news. Then they finally got into the spotlights, and they did the Mighty Rangers. That was the first group that they spotlighted. One of the people in that one was Tori Kelly. Now, you'll remember Tori. She's the 16-year-old that doesn't look 16, that brought the little girl in with the pictures for the judges. Remember her? I thought she did pretty good, and she made it through, so good job, Tori. Then they had a girl named Maddie. I wasn't real impressed with Maddie. Maddie was complaining about how her group is going to keep her from making it and blah, blah, blah. And then when I heard her sing, I was like, really, if you don't make it, it's because of your singing, not because of your group. However, they put her through. So I was kind of surprised about that. Then we saw Mark Labriola again. Now, you'll remember Mark. He was the Jack Black lookalike. Remember him? And he pleaded for his life and said, please, this is all I've got. And my heart just went out to him, but he didn't make it through, so I was a little bit depressed about Mark. And then they had Kimberly Kerbo. You remember, she's the one that was wearing the wig, remember, that we talked about. And I was a little bit sad for her, but she didn't make it through either. So, oh, and then they had some guy named Danny that we'd never met, and he didn't make it through, so oh well. So Tori and Maddie were the only 2 that made it through with the Mighty Rangers. Next, we saw the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix is the one that had a little bit of drama with the girl Kat quitting right before they went out. And really, to quit this far in the competition, I mean, I was just shocked. Just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? But she didn't. She quit and left the 4 of them. In that group is also the girl that was in Danny Gokey's group last year. And she was telling them, you know, where they needed to practice, which I think they got a pretty good area. And then she was talking about harmonies, and none of them agreed with her, and they were like, listen. But then, you know, she didn't make it through, so she's not really one to talk. Then there was 2 other guys we hadn't met, Ben Honeycutt and Jeff Gulford. Ben I wasn't real pleased with, but Jeff, whoo, I liked him. I liked him a lot. I think he was really good. And then they also had Jermaine Sellers, who we met in Atlanta, and I called him a standout in Atlanta for good reason. This guy is really good. So they announced that Jeff and Jermaine were going through. The judges got it right on. That's absolutely the way I would have called it as well. The next group we got to see was called Faith. This had a little girl named Michelle in it that we'd never seen before. And then it had Charity and Ashley, who we talked about yesterday, who I like. Ashley's the one that I think my son has a crush on. Oh, I almost said my husband. No, my son, who has a crush on her. I thought the song was a little bit too high for them. However, they did a great job and they made it through, so it doesn't really matter what I think, right? Next, we had Team Awesome. I liked this team because it had 3 of the guys that I really like. It had Seth Rollins, who you remember, he's the guy, what city was he from? Orlando, that had the kid with autism. And I actually called him a standout because I thought he was really, really good. Of course, we have Big Mike in that group. We got to see his baby be born. How exciting was that? It's really kind of fun. And I thought it was cool how his whole group was behind him. So that was really neat. And then we saw Michael Castro. Again, not showing him, not getting really hardly any TV time. And again, he's one of my faves. And then they had Tim Urban, not my favorite. Booted my guy Justin out, as we talked about yesterday. I'm just not sold on him. And if you are, if you see what the judges are seeing, I want you to let me know. I want you to let me know what you're seeing so that I'll know what to look for, because I just don't get it. I don't get Tim Urban. So Seth Rollins got booted and Michael Castro got booted. So depressing. We knew Mike would make it through, and then, of course, Tim made it through. And I'm really glad that Mike is getting this TV time, because I really think he needs it, because it's really, really sad that he doesn't get to go on because of his father's big mouth. Okay. Next, we saw Napoleon. This is one of the 2 Lady Gaga feuding groups that kind of annoyed me. The first girl we saw with them is Liz Rooney. Really, I mean, she's painful to watch. Painful, painful, painful. And then we saw Thaddeus. Thaddeus' last name is Johnson. I like Thaddeus. I think he's funny and cute and darling, and I hope that he goes really far. And then we saw Jessica Cunningham. I thought she was pretty good. And then the last girl was somebody named Kay, who we really didn't get to see. But they all made it through, so good for them. Then we got to see the other feuding group with the Lady Gaga song, and that was Destiny's Wild. Now, I thought they were pretty entertaining and kind of funny. Ellen was giving them grief about their routine and that their Cirque du Soleil outfits, but I thought they were all really good. Now, you know that my good friend, I don't really know him, but I love him, Todrick Hall from Dallas, is in that group, and I really like Todrick. I think he is a standout. I told you I think he's going to be in the top 12, so to keep your eye on him. But they all made it through, thank goodness, because as long as Todrick made it, I'm happy. Then they did that whole Gwen Stefani montage of that song with the really fast lyrics in it, which was really, really funny watching all those people mess that up. Why would you even bother to do that if you can't get it right? Pick a different song. But my girl Jessica Fernie got it right. She nailed it, actually. And Jessica's the one that you saw very first in the Road to Hollywood. And she also was a contestant last year. So I'm really glad she made it through. So I'm glad to hope to see her next week. Then we saw Big Dreams. This is the sad group. Matt Lawrence, who was in jail 4 of his birthdays. Then we saw drama girl Amanda Schmeckman. I think that's how you say her name. And then 2 others that we don't really get to know. The whole group blew it. Out they go. And I'm really sad about Matt because I liked Matt and I thought that he would do really well in this competition. So I'm sad to see him go so early. They also said goodbye. They also said goodbye to some others that I want to remind you of who they are. First of all, Leah Laurenti. Leah Laurenti, we saw her in Boston. Now, you're going to remember her when I say, she's the one I said had the Austin Powers teeth. Remember? And I said she needed to have a makeover? Back that up, people. Go watch that again. She is hot. She took my advice. She did the makeover, and she looks amazing. So good for you. So sad you didn't make it through. Then we had Kimberly. We saw her in Dallas. She sang the original song. I liked the song. I didn't really like her voice, so I wasn't surprised that she didn't make it through. Another one that I'm not surprised that didn't make it through was Carmen Turner. She's the one that sang with her best friend, and I didn't think that either one of them were very good, so she's gone as well. Then finally we have Dave Pittman. We saw him in Dallas. He has the Tourette syndrome, and I was really sad to see him go. Not sure what happened because we didn't really get to see him sing. But I can tell you what class he has. He went over to the microphone and thanked the judges for the opportunity, so I loved that. Then we saw Middle C. Now, this had Janelle Wheeler and Casey James in it. You know I'm a big Janelle Wheeler and Casey James fan. And then we also had Jermaine Purifoy in there. We saw him in Orlando. I wasn't a big fan of him, but so far so good. All 3 of them made it through. I didn't think that Janelle was as good as always, and to be honest with you, I didn't pay any attention to what Casey was doing. I'm just too busy staring at him, so my bad. We had 3 Men and a Baby, or Little Lady, or I don't remember what it was called. This had Andrew Garcia and Katie Stevens in it. These are ones to watch. They are going to go far in this competition. And then they had another guy named JB, who was actually pretty good, and then somebody I didn't know anything about, but they all made it through, so good for them. The last group we saw was the Dreamers. They should have been called the Drama Group. I mean, seriously. She wants to be the leader and this and that and blah, blah, blah. All that bickering and fighting. I just wanted to throw something at the television. But I refrained. Mary Powers is in that group. She's the kind of Pat Benatar-ish person. She was the one trying to be the leader. And, you know, I know it's a group, but you do have to have a leader sometimes. Then you had Hope Johnson, who I think is pretty good, but big-time complainer. Then you had Margot May. Oh, how has she made it this far? She's horrible. And then you had Alex Lambert, who we haven't seen before, but very, very good. And then some other girl that we didn't get to meet. Mary, Hope, and Alex made it through. That was exactly the way that it should have gone. Mary, Hope, and Alex, absolutely. So goodbye, Margot. Thank goodness I didn't want to have to hear that again. Talk about nails on a chalkboard. So we have 76 going through after all of that. And let me tell you about a couple others that are going through. John Park, he's from Chicago. He's the one that Shania Twain had the crush on. Haley Vaughn, she's the one that I said needed a hairdo with a little lisp. She's going through, thank goodness. Angela Martin, this is her 3rd time to audition. We met her in Chicago. I called her a standout. She didn't make it. She got to Hollywood, but didn't get to actually stay in Hollywood because something happened. 3rd time's a charm, girl. You go for it. Tasha Layton, talked about her yesterday. Still haven't got to see her sing. Tyler Brady, he's the 70s throwback. Still haven't got to see him sing. Caitlin Epperly, I really liked her. We saw her in Chicago. She's real soulful. Lloyd Thomas, we saw him in Dallas. Let me remind you, I'm sexy. Remember him? He made it through. Awesome. Kia Johnson, I don't know who she is. Or they didn't make it through. And finally, Christian Spears, we saw her in Dallas. She's the one that had cancer, that survived cancer. So glad she made it through. That's it. I'm looking forward to the final round of Hollywood next week. I hope you are too. I hope to see you back here next Wednesday. Until then, hugs to you all. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.